I didn't grow up on a farm, much unlike a lot of people that are in agriculture. I got into this because I wanted to get into it. I went to Dowling in Des Moines and went to Iowa State, graduated in engineering, in econ, jumped around a few times in majors, but when I was at Iowa State, I tried to get a job at the ISU farms. They wouldn't hire me because I didn't have a farm background, so I put an ad in the paper there, and a guy by the name of Dick Vilmont, south of town, answered that ad, and that's how I got started. I worked for him for 3 years. The first day I built fence. The second day he had me chopping silage. Never driven a tractor in my life, but he hated field work, and he got me started, and anyway, that's how I got started, and that's where we're at today.
Like the approach of empowering the landowners and acting as their agent as opposed to the other way around, which is what sometimes happens.
We had a couple of really good examples last year. We had two sisters that put their mother's farm up in eastern Iowa. They came to me and they said, we got a choice. Mom's going to nursing home. There's not enough income on the farm, but we got to do something. We're either going to sell the farm, or we got to get this rent up significantly, or we got to do something different. And they had a relative renting it. It was kind of a difficult situation, and they were tough enough to handle it. And so we did. And turns out we had a chance to double their rent. They didn't want to do that. They were really good. The top 4 applicants they interviewed, they actually took the third one down the list, and they probably left, I think, around $8,000 on the table. But they really liked this young guy, and he grew up in their neighborhood. They didn't know him, but he was relatives of people that they knew, and they really felt good about it. And honestly, it saved the farm, because if they would have saved, their other alternative was to sell it, and they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to pay the tax or anything else. But so that's one service we have. That's kind of a simplistic approach to it. But I did this to kind of get an open bidding process. My theory is just like that. They didn't know who was in the neighborhood who was willing to rent their land. They had no idea. And if people knew that farm was up for rent, they would have had all kinds of calls and pickups in their driveway and everything else, and they wouldn't have known how to make the decision. The way we do it is they bid online, or they can send it in by hand, and we'll enter it for them, and then the owners sit down and decide, go through the references, look at all their information, and then they interview them, make phone calls, check their references, and make their decision.
The business is kind of a different business structure than other farm management companies, so I was very intrigued with it. I was not familiar with the company before.
Again, how do you determine the rents? It's interesting. I was at a meeting with a fellow the other day, and he was at a pro farmer meeting in Chicago area last fall, and an economist was giving a talk, and one of the farmers stood up and said, we need to find a good way to know what the market for cash rents are. And the economist said, okay, well, you willing to divulge what your rents are? And he says, well, no. And he said, well, now you know the problem.